Hi, my name is Paula, and I am an ESOL teacher at International High School, as she said. And our school's opened 14 months ago with the help of Springpoint. And we were specially designed to meet the needs of English language learners. Many of our students have been in this country for a year or less. Doing schools differently can be challenging at times, especially with a startup school like mine. We spent a lot of our first year creating school culture and designing curriculum to meet the needs of our special population. An example of this came last year when our principal, Carlos Beato, introduced us to a personalized learning system that he called ACE, which is data-driven and asynchronous in nature. ACE stands for Accelerate, Collaborate, and Engage. Accelerate is for students who have mastered the curriculum and they're ready for further enrichment. Collaborate is for students who work together to master the curriculum, and Engage is for students who will master the curriculum with additional scaffolding. When I first heard that we were going to try this, this model, I was thinking to myself, I don't know how I'm going to put this all together in the same classroom at the same time, but with the encouragement of my principal and my colleagues and my students, I was ready to meet the challenge. Little did I know just how instrumental my students would be in helping me to figure out how to put it into practice. In fact, it was one of my students, Enrique, who helped me to see just how effective this model could be working with ELs when he demonstrated inspiring in a new way to put the Accelerate principle into practice by having students solidify their learning by teaching others. Let me tell you a little bit about Enrique. He came to summer language camp last year. He didn't need to come, but he just wanted to come. And this was a real change of heart for him because 6 months prior, he wasn't enrolled in any school at all. He lived with his older sister who worked round the clock, and somewhere between middle school and high school, he just never got registered. So he spent about 6 months doing construction and housekeeping work. But he got a real wake-up call one day when one of his really good friends who was in a gang was arrested for involvement in a murder. And Enrique took a look in the mirror, and he said to himself that he thought that he could be going down the very same path if he didn't make a drastic change. Fortunately for him, he had another friend who was enrolled in our school, and this person encouraged him to reach out to our principal to see if he could also attend. So Enrique wrote a letter to our principal, and he said that he wanted a fresh start, and he wanted to separate himself from gangs, and he thought that our school would be a good environment to do that. And luckily for him and for us, our principal accepted him. So one day last summer in language camp, Enrique came in and he said, "Miss, what are we going to be doing today?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to have you do Accelerate today, and you're going to be watching 2 videos that were the next step in a process that we'd already covered in class." And he turned to me and he said, "Miss, I have another idea. Would it be okay for me to teach the Engage group today?" And he told me some of his ideas, and he was just so enthusiastic, I just couldn't say no. So I showed him my materials, and he took some whiteboards and dry erase markers, and he planned out the lesson. And it went amazingly well. He taught the students, and they were hanging on his every words, and they really were engaged that day. And you could just see the confidence exuding from him. And it was such a transformation because he had come to our school with so many self-doubts and so many different issues. And I was just watching this, sitting back in the back of the classroom, and I felt like I was like moved to tears, and I was like, somebody's got to see this. So I ran out of the classroom, and I found our school principal, and I found our guidance counselor. I was like, "You've got to come quick and see what Enrique's doing. Come quick, come quick." And so they came in, and they were all just really impressed with what he was doing as well. I spoke to him later about the lesson, and I asked him what had inspired him. And he told me that not so long ago, he had been in their shoes, and he just recalled what kinds of questions he had and he thought that the students would have the same kinds of questions. So he used his personal experience and his understanding of the content in order to instruct them and help them to understand the material. And he said that he got his confidence because he went to a special school where he had students, or he had teachers and staff who were very supportive of him. And it's moments like this that just help me to remember why it's so important that we do schools differently, where we can design a school model that can meet the needs of all the students that we teach. Thank you.